none other than Professor Pramod Kumar Das sir. He is going to address on the topic silence. Actually, I think we all are very much eager to hear him, what he will talk about this very profound topic that is silence. There is a saying in our ordinary transactions that is Mauna Brata. That means we say that Maune Sammati Lakshana. Wherever, even Wittgenstein also once he said that wherever you cannot speak, there you should remain silent. So even we say that silence is more profound than what you say. Even by the practice of silence, we can control over our speech. So it has multi dimensions. You can say that though this is a very small concept, and we say that it is some simply it is, you can say that it has a negative thing, like that you cannot participate in the process. No, it is not like that. Being silent, you can do more things, and it has positive connotations too. So with this, I again welcome you all, and I request Professor Das to address us on the topic that is silence. Sir, please.
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir. Audible and visible.
Respected Dr. Kalyani Solanki, madam, very esteemed participants of this session. Today we have a very beautiful topic, that is silence. So we shall discuss how this concept silence is understood and misunderstood in our practical life. It is very easy to speak, very easy to be a speaker, to speak for hours. It is very easy. But it is very difficult to maintain silence, to remain silent. So this is the highest yoga sadhana. This is the highest spiritual sadhana, that we can maintain silence and we can live with silence. So how silence is misunderstood? Generally, we think not speaking is silence. Not doing anything is silence. Not reacting is silence. Not responding is silence. All these connotations or definitions or symptoms are wrong, because they are wrongly understood, wrongly conceived. The moment the person is not speaking, the question is he really speaking or not? He or she is not speaking means he or she is not using language. That means he is not using the conventional language. From that we say that he is silent. So not speaking is not silence. The person who is not speaking, he is speaking many things. And that is a problem. If you speak, that's good. Your intention is revealed. Your clarity is revealed. But the moment you don't speak, but you speak within, you are introvert, that is a problem. That is a greater danger than speaking. Not doing anything is also not silence. Not doing is also a doing. Somebody will say, I shall not do anything. You will not do anything. That is your doing. That is your action. So that is not silence. You are not doing means you are doing that. You are doing, you are not doing. That means you are not silent. Somebody will say, not reacting is silence. You are not reacting, but that is your pretension. You pretend that you are not reacting. But your behavior, your mood, your way of talking, that's speak about your reaction. That means you are reactive, more reactive. Rather, it is better we should ventilate our inner thoughts, inner feelings. That reaction is good. Not responding is also the same thing. We are not responding means we are responding. That is your response. You respond not to respond. So silence is a problem for us when we pretend to be silent. When we use silence as a negative tool, as a negative instrument. Sometimes we use that tool of silence to escape a situation. That may be intelligence, that is not silence. If you are silent in a particular situation only to escape yourself from a given problem or given situation, that is your intelligence, that is your smartness. That may be your that is your intelligence. It's very simple. That means you are a liar. You are a hypocrite. Silence is also a symptom of hypocrisy in that sense. Somebody is silent, that does not mean he is not speaking. He is speaking. He is speaking the volume. His speech is very, very deep. Sometimes it may be very insulting. It may have bad effects. That is not silence. These are the misconceptions of silence, that not speaking is silence, not doing anything is silence, not reacting is silence. I am not using any language, therefore I am silent. No, I use language psychologically. Linguistically, we use language linguistic use of language is there, psychological use of language is also there. I am using language psychologically. I think of her, the past memory, the past insult. That is my reaction. That means I am not silent. I am doing something within. That silence is a threat. That silence is the crisis. That is the problem. So when we are discussing a concept, we have to discuss the problem. The problem is that we appear to be silent, but we are not really silent. We can get a certificate from the public, from others, that this man is silent. But that is not silence. And the public is not a fool. Public सब जानता है. Our thought is public, our activity is public, our intention is public. Wittgenstein said this. No private language. Everything is public. We claim that there is some privacy in our reaction. No. If you are reactive, that is public. Because reaction takes place in a dualistic order. Suppose you are alone, you are peaceful. You are reactive means you are connected with the other in the negative way, for which your reaction is meaningful. Wife is reacted with husband, father is reacted with son, teacher is reacted with student. There must be a duality, dual order. Otherwise, reaction is not possible. I cannot be reactive to myself. It is impossible. There is a reaction means there are two persons, minimum two persons, maybe more than two, but minimum two persons. So that is a dualistic order. So I pretend that I am alone, I am peaceful, I am not talking to anybody. I am not talking to anybody means I am alone. But no. The more I decide not to talk with X, the more I talk with X. The more we decide that I shall never talk with my friend or with somebody, our talk starts and we only think about that person. That person becomes the object of our perception, conception, understanding, everything. That person is only the goal, only the object, with whom I have some problem, for whom I have decided not to speak. Because this problem takes place because I don't solve the problem. I don't solve the problem. I don't intend to be silent really. My intention is something different. My intention is to satisfy my anger, to satisfy my ego, to achieve the merit of success, that I shall succeed. I shall insult him. I shall see him. He said me so and so. I shall say him so and so. We think overnight, nights after nights, days after days. Only that person is the object of our thought, of our perception. What I perceive only that person. If I perceive a cow, the cow is not perceived. My enemy is perceived. If I try to think about something, no. I only think of that person. That image interferes in my thoughts, in my action. I fail to do any action. I fail to do my duty. If I am going to teach my students in the classroom, that image disturbs me. So that makes me absent-minded. Absent-minded means my mind is absent here where it should be present, and it is present somewhere else where it should not be present. That is called absent-mindedness. So we are so much attracted towards that image for whom I am pretending to be silent. So we should be very much careful about it. It is also a social relation. You will observe if anybody is grave, if anybody is silent for nothing, because that is not the normal behavior. Silence is abnormal behavior. If it is prompted by our reactions, if somebody is silent by reaction, it is just his abnormality. That means he is not normal. That means the problem is not solved. The real problem is not solved by this type of silence, because there is no silence at all. There is no silence. It is a pretension of silence. I am giving another example. When marriage of a girl is going to be settled, generally the parents of or the relatives of the girl who is going to be married, this asks the very general question: what is your demand or dowry? And now it is a fashion: no dowry, no demand. We need nothing. We have everything. That means they are silent about that. Sometimes negation means silence. But the parents of the girl, they are not satisfied, because they know this silence is a problem. They may torture my daughter or my sister, or they may demand, they may have that type of intention, that type of desire, and that may cause disturbance in their marital life. So they ask categorically, repeatedly, they ask, please make it clear whether you really want or don't want. And it is very difficult to get the right answer because the bridegroom side, they know if we shall not demand anything, everything they will give. This type of silence is a problem. It is a social problem. So everything should be clear. Here silence is not pragmatic. Here silence is a pretension. So silence does not mean not speaking, not thinking, not reacting, not responding. No. This is not silence. Silence means you will respond very actively without any reaction. You will act very actively without any reaction. You will speak very actively without any reaction. Reactionless thought, speech, action is silence. If you are reactive anyway, and you pretend to be silent, that is not silence. Because people understand, public understands, everybody understands this type of a behavior. Why this man is silent? When the tiger is silently watching the deer, or when the crocodile is silently observing the deer, do we think that is silence? No. That is the trick. That silence is the only trick to attack an animal and to observe the movements of the deer, to calculate the speed, the distance, how to succeed in capturing the animal. But that is done by silent behavior. That is not silence. That is intelligence. Intelligently the tiger is calculating, hiding, calculating, and planning to catch the deer. If there will be sound, then he will not succeed. That is not silence. That is intelligence. Silence means we can respond, we can speak, we can be involved in this empirical world. We can do everything without having any sort of reaction. And that is possible by wisdom, by love, and by action. Jnana, karma, and bhakti. That is possible through metaphysics, through epistemology, and through ethics. So we have to understand the dynamics of silence. We should have that wisdom. Otherwise, the common sense view of silence or the common practice of silence is not useful. We shall start from metaphysics. Metaphysically speaking, Silence is that unmanifest state of the creation, where nothing is created, nothing is manifested. We all experience the glory of divine manifestation. We all see this empirical world. Science claims that whatever is seen to us, whatever is perceived by us, that is the reality. That is the empirical world. We accept this. We philosophers, we metaphysicians also accept this. Yes, you are looking or you are perceiving this empirical world. We are also perceiving this empirical world. There is no difference. The empirical world is the same for you and same for us. But in addition to that, we know that this empirical world is relative. This empirical world is an appearance, and there is the unmanifest state. There is a source. That source is the unmanifest, out of which all these manifestations or creation are possible. This is the difference between the scientific view and the metaphysical view. Scientific view is only confined to the appearance. Whatever is appearing or whatever we perceive through our sense organs or through some instruments, scientific instruments, perceived and perceivable. Whatever is perceived and perceivable, that is the world about which we can speak. Metaphysicians do not deny this. They agree with this point. But in addition to that, they claim that beyond this apparent world, beyond this changing world, there is a source which is not changing. There is a source, unchanging source, for which this changing phenomena is possible. That unmanifest state is silence in the metaphysical sense. Silence means it is not disturbed by any relative manifestations. Now we shall apply this metaphysics in our practical life. We all have the unmanifest mind. We all have the unmanifest mind. We use that unmanifest mind in a given situation, in a given context, and that becomes the manifestation of our mind. Suppose we are in a particular context. Suppose we are in the classroom. I am a teacher and there are students in the classroom. So there, I manifest as a teacher. I do my duty as a teacher. And that unmanifest intelligence or unmanifest mind manifests as a teacher. As a teacher, but that is relative because outside the classroom, that role is over. That means I am teaching, I am playing a role as a teacher, but at the same time, I am aware of the unmanifest state of my mind, that my being a teacher is only contextually real, is only empirically real, is real in this given context. this manifestation will not work in my family, in marketplace. If in the marketplace I shall behave like a teacher, I shall start teaching the shopkeeper, then they will think that I am a mad person. If I shall start teaching my wife like a teacher in my family, then she will think that I have become mad. That means one manifestation is not compatible with another manifestation, because we have to jump from one manifestation to another manifestation. But in course of maintaining all types of manifestations, all types of activities, we are aware that I am that unmanifest. My mind is unmanifest. My mind is an empty chamber. It is empty. It is shunya. It is unmanifest. If one is capable of identifying himself as that unmanifest, in course of being engaged in all types of manifestation, that person is a silent person. I am very much engaged, very much involved in a particular situation. I am doing my duty for my social obligations. But at the same time, I know this is only relative. This is only the manifestation of that total mind. This is only a very 1%. There are other 99% of manifestations, infinite possibilities. Out of the 100% manifestation, my being teacher is only one manifestation. But what we do in our practical life, why there is frustration, why there is stress, why there is depression, we are involved in 1%, but we give our 100% energy, 100% existence to that. So that is called trapping. That is called bondage. Because I have infinite possibility. I am not this, that. I am not a father. I am not a brother. I am not a teacher. Yes, I am all these things. But at the same time, I am nobody. So that Mr. Nobody is nobody. But that nobody becomes somebody in a particular context. If one is conscious of his own identity, that he is the unmanifest, but from the practical standpoint, from the Vyavaharika Satta, from the pragmatic standpoint, he has to play different roles for social obligations, for empirical necessities. That man is silent. That man is not disturbed in this empirical world. That man has no tiredness. That man has no stress. That man has a very equipoised mind because he is identified with his total possibility. This is only one possibility. If my emotion is 100%, my emotion for my child is only 1%. My emotion for my wife is 1%. My emotion for my service is 1%. Because the possibility is 100%. If one is aware of this metaphysical identity, physical identity, by physical identity, I am a teacher, I am a father, I am a brother. But my metaphysical entity is that I am nobody. And that becomes true when we sleep. When we sleep. When we sleep, we are nobody. When we wake up, we are everybody. So what is the difference between everybody and nobody? The nobody is the state of silence, and the everybody is the state of noise, state of formalities, manifestations. So that silence, that unmanifest, should be maintained in our thought, speech, and action, in our empirical existence, in social existence, and in all possible existence. This is the metaphysical perspective. When we discuss about Purusha and Prakriti, out of Prakriti, everything has been created. Sattva, Raja, Tama. Three gunas, when they are disturbed, creation takes place. One guna dominates over another guna, and according to the nature of domination, we find the creation. If Sattva guna dominates over Raja guna, the creation is Sattvic. If the Raja guna dominates over Sattva guna, then the creation is Rajasic. If Tamasic guna quality dominates over Raja or Sattva guna, that is Tamasic. That means when there is any disturbance or domination, creation takes place. From this it implies that Prakriti has an equilibrium state. That equilibrium state is silence. So we have to understand that whatever we see as the product of Prakriti are not real. Neither Sattva, nor Raja, nor Tama. All these are modifications of Prakriti. All these are modifications of Guna. Therefore, we have to understand that if anything that is the product of Prakriti, that is not silence. That is dynamic. That is full of activities. That is full of bondage. Because that is infected with a guna. That may be Sattva guna, that is also an infection. That may be guna, that is an infection. And that may be Tama guna, that is also an infection. But we are bound because of our prior sanskara, because of our vasana, because of our prior habit, we are bound to have a particular character, and we are bound to do our action in a particular way. In that sense, we are all determined by Prakriti. We are all determined. We are not free. We are determined by Prakriti. But at the same time, we have to understand that really we are all Purusha. That is consciousness. That is Cetana. That is silence. In the metaphysical sense. That means silence does not negate activity. Purusha does not negate Prakriti, because without the both, Purusha and Prakriti, no creation is possible. Purusha is necessary, Prakriti is necessary. Both are necessary for creation. But the moment we think only Prakriti is real, we are disturbed. We have to understand. Therefore, Sankhya system says the highest knowledge is the knowledge of the discrimination between Purusha and Prakriti. That Purusha and Prakriti, they are different. This is the highest knowledge. But that does not mean Prakriti is useless. Prakriti is meaningless. Prakriti is very much necessary. But we have to understand that we are beyond Prakriti. Prakriti is not our identity. Prakriti is not our address. Our address is that Purusha. And that Purusha is different from this Prakriti. So being involved in Prakriti, if we are able to be conscious that we are conscious, then that is silence. That man is called Sthita Prajna. That man is called, that man has an equipoised mind. That is silence. So the silent mind can think of both the unmanifest and the manifest. That this is unmanifest and this is manifest. Suppose I am getting angry. My anger is truth. My anger is not false. My anger is true. It is the truth that I am getting angry. But if I am conscious that I am getting angry for this purpose and it has practical utility, if I am conscious about that, I am not angry. I am in Maya. But if I know that I am in Maya, I am not in Maya. We should have that transcendence, that transcendent intelligence, that higher intelligence which covers, which includes all possibilities of manifestations. So what am I? I am simply a manifestation of a particular psychological state. I am defined by my action. I am defined by my guna or quality. But that definition is not my real definition. That definition is the empirical definition. So the person who is silent, that means the person who has not wisdom of the unmanifest, that person will never be motivated by, disturbed by, infected by the appreciation or fame, defame of these empirical identifications, success, failure. And the person who is free from all types of empirical reactions, that freedom is silence. Otherwise, we are disturbed. All the time we are disturbed. We seek appreciation means we are disturbed. We expect the consequence of an action means we are disturbed. Why do we seek appreciation? Because we think this empirical identity is clear, is real. I belong to that. I belong to this empirical identity. If I am appreciated, I think, yes, I am the owner of that appreciation. I am the creator of that appreciation. I deserve that appreciation. I don't think that this is false. This is not my real identity. I don't think that. I become happy. I appreciate my appreciation. That means I shall be depressed I shall be disappointed when there will be no appreciation. That means I lack silence. Silent mind is not disturbed by the empirical certificates. It may be fame or defame, success or failure, anything that is relative. And we have to understand the relativity of empirical world. And we have to understand that beyond this relative empirical world, there is something absolute. There is the unmanifest. And I really belong to that. That person will remain unaffected. That person will remain undisturbed. So, if our mind is disturbed by this cause or that cause, that mind is not silent mind. If we have expectation, that mind is not silent. We expect means there is suffering. We expect something means there is suffering. Therefore, niskama karma. Wisdom, then karma. Niskama karma. Niskama karma means, niskama karma does not mean karma without kamana. It is impossible. Kamana must be there. But we should not be disturbed by the expectation of the consequences which will follow automatically our action. We know the consequence. We know the consequence, but we are afraid of the consequence. We apprehend the consequence. Or we are very much eager to get the consequence. We are very much worried about the consequence. We imagine the consequence. That is how we are disturbed from doing our duty. If we are really disturbed in doing our duty, that means we are not silent. That is not silence. A silent mind is very much active because there is no question of inactivity. Because his focus only on the action, only on duty. His focus is not distracted by the expectation of anything else. Appreciation, success, failure. No consequence. Do your dharma. Do your duty. Don't expect anything. The moment you start expecting, the moment you start desiring something, then your silent mind will run after all these illusions. Illusions. Whatever we desire, that may come or may not come. But we run after that. That is illusion. Because there is no certainty. So when the mind runs after something from his native stance, when the mind is running after something, that mind is not a silent mind. So mind should be poised in its native stance. As we stay very comfortably in our own home, so mind has its own home. Don't let your mind run after the illusions. If it is running after the illusions, the mind becomes illusory. And that illusory mind is not silent mind. It is full of illusions, imaginations. So this is the metaphysical perspective of silence. Epistemologically, if we shall interpret silence, in our Indian philosophy system or Western philosophy system, there are different sources of knowledge. Perception is a source of knowledge. Inference is a source of knowledge. And there are many other. Comparison is a source of knowledge. Verbal testimony is a source of knowledge. There are many sources of knowledge. In Indian tradition, they are called pramana. They are the valid sources of knowledge. But the same Indian philosophy, in the Patanjali Yoga system, it is said that pramana is nothing but a chitta vritti. And chitta should be free from vritti. Chitta means mind, that should be free from the modifications of mind. And pramana is one of them. That means, if we take any pramana to have the knowledge of something, that is only the knowledge about the appearance. That is not the final knowledge. That means we mistake the source of knowledge as knowledge. Perception is not knowledge. Perception is the source of knowledge. Something may be my perception. That is not my knowledge. My perception is not my knowledge. My perception is a source of my knowledge. So we should not mistake the source as the end. My perception is my perception, and my perception may vary from the perception of others. Similarly, my inference is my inference, and that may vary from others. So the source of knowledge should not be mistaken as knowledge. Because the knowledge of the truth cannot be attained by the modifications of mind, chitta vritti. Knowledge through mind and knowledge through the modifications of mind is different. Knowledge through mind means the total mind. By that total mind, we shall see Vishwarupa, which Arjuna failed to see. Lord Krishna was able to see Vishwarupa because he has the total mind. But if we shall try to see the Vishwarupa means the total manifestation through the sources of knowledge like perception, inference, verbal testimony, linguistic analysis, etc., it is impossible. Perception is only a form of knowing. Through that form of knowing, we can have a very peculiar type of knowledge. Through the scientific laboratory, we can have very peculiar type of knowledge. We cannot demonstrate everything in scientific laboratory. As the form, so is the knowledge. So from the source of perception, we can have only perceptual knowledge. From the source of a conception, we can only have the conceptual knowledge. Through the source of a language, through linguistic analysis, we can have linguistic knowledge. That one is very much expert in grammar. He may become a linguistic analyst. But that is not knowledge. That is the knowledge of a form. That is the knowledge of the totality. So if our mind is epistemologically engaged in any source of knowing and it claims that this is my knowledge, then that mind is not silent. Not only Indian philosophers, but also Western philosophers have also justified it. The best example is Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant says that through the best use of empiricism and rationalism, we can have only the knowledge of the phenomenal world. Because through this format, sensuous format and rational format, the categories of understanding, all the categories of understanding, if all the categories of understanding will be engaged in the knowledge process, then we can reach at least a phenomenal world. We cannot reach the noumena because noumena is formless. Phenomena is within form, within categories. So no perception, no conception, no empiricism, no rationalism can give us the knowledge of the noumena. Similarly, in Indian tradition, through chitta vrittis, there are different types of chitta vrittis, and a pramana is one chitta vritti. Through that chitta vritti, that means through any pramana, any valid, we are calling that a valid source of knowledge. Yes, that is a valid source of knowledge, but that valid source of knowledge is not valid knowledge. Valid source of knowledge is a valid source, but that valid source of knowledge is not a valid knowledge because it belongs to a category. It belongs to a format of knowing. That format may be perception, that format may be reasoning, that format may be comparison, that format may be linguistic analysis. Silent mind is that mind which knows this limitation of pramana, which knows the limitation of epistemology. That epistemology means it is a science of knowing created by man. So the highest form beyond all forms is only a human form. So by a human form, anything that is human, maybe science, philosophy, religion, anything that cannot give the total picture of the totality. For that, we should have a total mind. Therefore, Kant spoke of pure reason and practical reason. By pure reason, we cannot know the noumena. We can't have that access. The ladder is not so high that we can go to the noumena. By this ladder of logic, by this ladder of empiricism and rationalism, we have to understand this limitation of epistemology. That mind is a silent mind. But what we do in our practical life? We claim 1 PhD, 2 PhD, 3 PhD, professor of university, have written 10 books, 20 books, 50 books. I have a very big library. Can that person be silent? No. His very silent mind is engaged with the illusion of epistemology, epistemological illusions. My library is an illusion because I know the limit of this library. There are 500 books in my library and they are written by great authors, but all are only formal. They are written by a human mind, and human mind cannot map, cannot describe the totality. So this awareness of the limit of epistemology is silence. That means one should not have ego, one should not have false vanity that I know everything. I am so knowledgeable. I am so qualified. This is nonsense. This is not silence. This is nonsense. So this is the epistemological limitation. So silence is beyond epistemology. Science is beyond physics, beyond the empirical world. In a metaphysical standpoint, I told, and now I said, silence is trans-empirical, trans-epistemological. That means no epistemological source can assess the depth of silence. The more we try, the more we fail. As Spinoza said, the more you determine, the more you limit it. Spinoza said, while describing substance, that the more you determine the substance, the more you limit it. Similarly, in Indian tradition, it is said, whatever is indescribable, that cannot be described by language. So don't try to describe. If you are trying and if you are satisfied with your definition, that is your foolishness. That is not your silence. That means your silence is easily disturbed by your own qualification, by your own vanity. So be aware of this. The third one is ethical. Yes, as we are all social beings, as we are all rational, we should be aware of the values, moral values, what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong, what is virtue and what is sin, what should be done and what should not be done. We should be aware of this because we are rational. This is morality. But in addition to this awareness, we should be aware of the context, the contextuality. We should not be trapped by a specific value. As Immanuel Kant said, here I differ from Immanuel Kant, Kant's categorical imperative. Duty should be done for the sake of duty. Whatever may happen, whatever may be the consequence. Whatever may be the consequence, duty should be done for the sake of duty. No. We should be aware of the consequence. We shall not run after consequence. We shall not be worried about the consequence as per Niskama Karma is concerned. But being rational, we should be aware of the consequence. Telling truth is virtue. Telling lie is bad. But what is the consequence of telling lie, telling truth? If I am not aware of this, if I am not so intelligent to have this type of awareness, should I tell truth or lie in this particular given context? Then I am a fool. Then I am not educated. So I have to focus on the context. What the context demands. I know the cardinal values, I know the truth, I know the moral value, I know. But when the question of implication arises, I should be very much aware of its consequence. That means we have to go beyond, the human evaluation of morality. Something is good. Suppose we said duty should be done for the sake of duty. Now the question comes, who will decide what is my duty? Duty should be done for the sake of duty. Agree. Then the question will come, please decide my duty. Here, duties will vary. What is my duty in this particular station? My station, my duty. What is my duty in this station? If this is the duty of my station, then I must do it. So there is no problem with categorical imperative. So duty should be done for the sake of duty. That means the duty is not universal. Duty is contextual. I agree that duty should be done for the sake of duty. But please tell me, what is my duty? Please define me. If this is my duty to tell a lie in this particular situation to save the life of 100 people or 1,000 people, or there will be a riot, or there will be a great disturbance in society, or a girl will not be married. If such problems are there, then please decide what is my duty as a father, as a citizen. So duty should be done for the sake of duty, but the silent mind will decide what is my duty. Let us decide what is my duty. So my duty depends upon the context, depends upon the situation, depends upon lokasangraha, depends upon the welfare of the society. I am not so trapped by rationalism or reason. I am not so mathematical that whatever may happen, this should be done. No. This is mechanical. This is mathematical. This is descent in mathematics. This is descent in logic. This is not descent in morality. In morality, we cannot ignore empiricality. Because that is, without empirical phenomena, morality has no value. So my sense of morality should go hand in hand with the sense of the empirical necessity. Is it necessary to tell truth, or just I shall satisfy the mathematical principle of reasoning? Duty should be done for the sake of duty. No. It is not so mathematical. It is not so logical. If it be so, then everybody will do only their duties without affection, without love, without compassion, without any emotion. When a mother serves food to her child, she is not aware of her duty. She does not do it like a nurse. She feeds the child out of love, out of affection. That is duty plus. So our action should be duty plus. Duty plus means there should be a sense of flexibility. We should be ready to be flexible. We should be ready to change our minds according to the demand of the situation. Sometimes I shall behave like a sattvic person, sometimes I shall behave like a rajasic person, and sometimes I should have tamasic quality, because all these three qualities are necessary because they are productive value. I need sound sleep. So without tamasic quality, I can't sleep. I need rest. When there is an urgency of fighting to save my life, I can't be sattvic. There my duty is to be rajasic. There I shall exert my kshatriya quality. There I shall behave like a kshatriya. Now I am behaving like a Brahmin and also a Sudra. Sudra means I am serving. I am speaking something means I am serving. I am speaking of the wisdom means I am a Brahmin. So we should have that flexibility. That means values are good, social values are also good, but we have to understand, as there are many societies, values differ from society to society, country to country, community to community, and we have to respect the respective values of all communities, all religions. We should have that flexibility. If I shall claim that I am a staunch Hindu, then my mind is not silent. Silent mind means a free mind. I am not a Hindu. My identity is not that I am a Hindu. I am a man. I am a free mind. I have become a Hindu, or I have become a Muslim. I have become a Christian. I have become so and so. So I should not be trapped by any becoming. I should be installed with my being. That installation with being is silence. So it is also morally sound. Morally sound means I am aware of the values, and at the same time, I am also aware of the limitation of values. Limitation of the physical science, limitation of epistemology, and similarly, the limitation of morality. That we cannot be universal because we are bound to be contextual. So this is the moral sense. In the moral sense, one should be silent. So now we shall discuss, as it is said in Bhagavad Gita and in Indian scriptures. So what is the behavior of that silent person? If somebody is silent in metaphysics, silent in epistemology, and silent in morality, then how he will behave? Should he behave like a sannyasi? Should he behave like a renunciate? No. He will not run away from this world. He will not leave this world and will go to Himalaya. No. He will live with this world with a silent mind. Silent mind means complete understanding. Complete understanding of what? A complete understanding of the limitation of the physical world, limitation of a pramana or the sources of knowledge or epistemology, and the limitation of moral values. One should be so flexible. That behavior of that person is something different. I have marked many people many people, and you also have noticed that many people just give their reaction by a very sweet smile. Simply they smile, and that smile is very meaningful. Why? Because they appreciated your view? No. No. If you think so, then you are not silent. The person who is smiling, he is silent. But if you misinterpret his silence, that he is appreciating you, or he has given his consent, means yes, no. He is smiling because he knows your limitation. I am giving an example. A child is running to her to his mother, and the child is very much disturbed. The child is complaining of his friends, and he has so many complaints, but the mother is simply smiling. Mother smiles because the mother knows that this is the childish attitude of my child. And after 5 minutes, this child will forget everything and will be engaged in the doll. This is the reaction of a silent mind. You think that I insulted this person, therefore that person will be insulted. No. He will not be insulted by your insult, because he transcends it. He transcends your insult. He is not affected. You mean your insult. He does not mean your insult. That person is calm and quiet. I don't receive your insulting words. So all the insulting words will be back to you. Buddha was giving sermon to his disciples. A drunkard man came and spat over the face of Buddha and scolded him with slang language. All the disciples present there, they became reactive, and they waited for the indication from Buddha to attack that person. But Buddha forgave that person. Buddha told, no, forgive him. Then that person, the next day, at the same time, came again, and everybody was expecting that he will behave the same way. He will misbehave. But the person begged pardon, and the person told that, please excuse me, please forgive me, that yesterday I had committed a great sin. I insulted you. Buddha answered, you are not that person. You are not the same person who spat over me. You have been changed. And I am not the same person on which face you have spat. That means we are all the time, we are changing personalities. We are that totality. So we should not be affected by a particular manifestation. This should be our conviction. This should be our intelligence. This should be our wisdom. So, as I started my talk with the sentence, that mind which is free from all types of reaction is the silent mind. And that silent mind is very much comfortable in jnana, karma, and bhakti. If the mind is silent, it can receive wisdom. Therefore, we Therefore, we practice meditation. Meditation is that state by which we increase the receptive ability that we can receive, because our mind is free from all types of distraction, all types of disturbances. So meditation is required for this type of wisdom, that we can receive wisdom. We can go beyond, and we can do niskama karma, and we can love, we can imbibe the qualities of love, compassion, forgiveness. That means we can imbibe bhakti or emotion. So jnana, karma and bhakti samuchaya, the complete personality, purna bhaktitva, is possible by this culture of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a very wonderful and lucid way of presenting such a difficult topic on silence. You began your discussion of what silence is not. That is, you have already said that silence does not mean inactivity. Rather, it is very much involved in activities. Again, you make a distinction between psychological silence and logical silence. That is really praiseworthy and very wonderful way of interpreting the very concept that is silence. And you have made the, while explaining away the psychological silence and logical silence, you gave the example of bride silence on the part of the bride's family, and on the other hand on the groom's family, and the complete silence about dowry. Further, silence is to be practiced in metaphysics, epistemology and ethics that you elaborate further. I can conclude that silence gets its fruition in intellectual empathy. But if we get trapped with one manifestation, then we are definitely in bondage. So here you further made a distinction between nobody and everybody. Nobody is the representative of silence, and everybody is the representative of noise or activities with passion. Really, very praiseworthy. In the metaphysical plane, there must be, you harp, that is more, there must be a balance between thought, word, and deed. That is the state of silence. And the very concept of silence, it is not a process, rather it is a state that you harp more and more. It is a state of equanimity, it is a state of equipoise, it is a state of being sthita prajna. It includes all possibilities of manifestation. It is a state of being beyond all forms of condemnations and commendations. We have the epistemology that all these are relative. So to know that and to transcend that, it is nothing other than the concept of silence. Even in epistemology proper, or you can say that epistemology proper is not possible unless we have the totality of knowledge. And to have that totality of knowledge, again, it is nothing but understanding the limitations, and to understand the limitations of pramanas, again, it is silence. So silence, you said that silence is trans-empirical, silence is trans-epistemological too. Further, you said that we have to move on beyond all context by maintaining a secular attitude to all values of different cultures. So we should try to install ourselves with being and not with becoming, with formless form and not with a particular form. silent mind, silent mind, it ever smiles, enjoys bliss and freedom, and never gives up. Gives up. With this, I again congratulate you. I am thankful, really, I am thankful from the bottom of my heart to put forth before us the very tough concept in such a lucid manner. With this, I welcome you all, the participants, to participate and to keep their observations, to have their observations. I request the participants to unmute themselves and put forth the question so that it will lead to further discussions and further clarity. Thank you. I request you all, anyone who have any query, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Sir, ଆପଣ ଦେଖୁଛନ୍ତି କିଛି question ଅଛି କି chat box ରେ?
No, there is only silence. There is only silence. There is only silence.
So silence
No
speaks
question.
more
No
than
question.
speech. So silence speaks. I can say in one line, that is, silence is golden and speech is silver. So silence speaks more than the speech.
Thank you. And you gave a very beautiful synopsis of my talk. Very
Anyone
sir?
have any query?
Sir.
Yes. Please ask. Please ask.
Namaste. I just want to ask that in today's scenario, when there's lot of noise in media, when there's lot of sensationalization of everything, do you think that a mass maturity of understanding silence and its importance can be gained?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. There is noise, not only outside but also inside. Inside of our personality, there is a lot of noise. We are disturbed by our own understanding, own psychological traits. And outside also, outside noise is natural. We can't avoid it. There will be plants, there will be animals, there will be society, there will be governments, there will be many types of outside disturbances. The real threat is your inner disturbances, your inner conviction, inner misunderstanding.
Sir, madam is talking about noise by the media.
Okay,
media.
Yes,
Okay.
I understand that. So the real noise is the noise within. When that is disturbed, when you have wrong conviction, then there is a chance of being biased by any external source. If inwardly you are equipoised, if inwardly you are groomed with, you are cultured with your right conviction that I am that total mind, then no external noise can disturb you. It may be media, it may be digital world, it may be personal world, anything. It may be the material prosperity, anything external cannot disturb you if you are internally poised, internally silent. So we have to culture that. We have to know the limitation of external noise. We should not be affected by that. Rather, we have to make ourselves free from the external noises. Media is one example. There are so many types of noises with whom you shall fight. So fight with yourself. Fight, build your character, build your personality, build your ability in such a way that all these noises cannot affect you. We all know the merit and demerit of media.
But sir, what about
true.
mass understanding of silence? A person can uh, do work on him. I mean, we can work on ourselves, right? But how we can generate that understanding in mass? Because individual is really very small unit to impact others. And nowadays there's a rat race of towards materialism. We do not want to think, we do not want to analyze, we just want to grab what media tells us that you should get. There's a mass approach. I mean, there's no approach actually. People are blindly doing what media is telling them. They do not think. So, uh, at individual level, it's really very small an impact to me. Mass understanding is necessary. How we can achieve that?
Yes, yes. It's a very good question. Mass understanding is necessary, but that will start from an individual. Mass is abstract, the individual is concrete. You start from yourself. I shall start from myself. I shall not wait when you will start. You should not wait when your neighbor will start. So charity should begin from home. So we have to start fast. So the individual consciousness will become the social consciousness. The individual psyche will become the collective psyche. Because there were not thousands Buddha, there were not thousands of Sankaracharya, one Buddha. They were sufficient to change the society. So become that one Buddha. Maybe one, but become a Buddha. Don't become mass. One, but become a Sankaracharya. One, but become a Vivekananda, like Vivekananda. Become like Aurobindo. Be a good wife, be a good daughter by yourself. Don't wait for others. That will vibrate the being and becoming of others. And automatically, a psychic consciousness or psychic discipline will be developed. So we shall not wait that she will do or he will do, then I shall start. So any discipline that starts from the individual. Individuals make society. Individuals make community. Individuals do everything. This is my submission.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. But
Thank you.
because we are the generation where we need fast results, so it really worries me that can we achieve this understanding quickly, because we know that because we know that people are used to put good men who bring a big change, right? They put them at a pedestal and they say अरे वो कर सकते थे हम नहीं कर सकते ना. So there's a problem with this also. I mean, in the name of Christ, there are many sects, right? In the name of that one universal truth, there are many religions, many sects.
Madam, you just imagine, you have everything you have. You have 10 costly cars, 10 very costly buildings. You have everything. But you have a very small mind, very uncultured mind, very noisy mind, very clumsy mind, then you have nothing. So your mind is your asset. Have a good mind. You can live peacefully at everywhere, in a small house and also in a 5-star hotel. There is no difference because mind lives in the empirical world. So if your mind is not groomed, that means your mind is your friend. Your mind is your world. Your mind is your existence. It does not matter that how rich you are. It matters how cultured you are. What a fantastic mind you have. At least you understand about the crisis of media, about the crisis of present generation. That is a blessing in disguise. You have that mind at least to perceive this phenomena. Others don't perceive. Others are trapped by the motivation of the present generation. We are also afraid of our children. It is very difficult to guide our children of the present generation because they are motivated by the gravitational pull of the material prosperity. Overnight we shall overnight we shall earn crores of rupees. Okay, so your mind is very costly, your mind is invaluable, it should be highly cultured, and it is infinitely it has infinite possibilities of manifestation. This material prosperity, mass media, appreciation, PhD, professor, this is the only 1% manifestation of your mind. You have infinite possibility. Be that infinite. You are Brahman, you are soul. Be that higher consciousness. Automatically, people can't look at you. People will fear to talk with you. Your vibration will be so vibrant that you will change the society. One Vivekananda is sufficient to change the society. One Aurobindo is sufficient to change the society. Society is abstract. It is made good by the good individuals. So be a good individual, and at least you do that. What can you do? At least you do that. Your life is only 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, or 80 years, or 100 years. Live that life with peace and harmony, with discipline, and at least make few people so disciplined. Your life will be meaningful, and you will die a meaningful death. This is my submission. Thank you for your response. You asked a very beautiful question.
Thank you.
Thank you, both Pramod sir and the participant. Any query from anyone? Shravani madam is there. Shravani madam, do you want to keep some observations?
Madam Namaskar. I have given my observation. This is very, very good and very educative also. I have learned so many things from sir's presentation, and I am highly indebted to sir, you also, that we are being fortunate to listen to sir, and everything that we have to nurture in our life. What sir has told, we have to practice it. It's very difficult, but it's possible if we are intentionally practice it from today onwards. Thank you very much. I am highly indebted.
Thank you, Shravani. Thank you, Shravani madam. So let us come to the concluding part, and with the promise that at least we will nurture our mind, we will make ourselves good, and there is nothing to say to anyone. People will follow you. If there are, Vivekananda never said that you follow me. Rather, people saw him and they just try to embrace all the good qualities that Vivekananda possessed. So similarly, we can I will just here quote the quote from Buddha, that be a light to yourself, Atma Deepa Bhava. So you see, there is a saying, behind every successful man, there is a woman. So here, in this entire program for the last 1.5 years, going to be 2 years, there is a woman who supports in all her possible ways to promote sir, so that he can continue with his more than, I think, around 100 webinars. That is none other, she is none other than Swarnalata Tripathi Madam. So I welcome you, ma'am, to offer the vote of thanks today. Swarna Madam, please.
Thank you, madam. Namaskar to all. I thank all the participants for their participation in this webinar discussion. I thank the speaker Pramod sir for delivering a very insightful talk on silence. Silence is not inactivity. Silence is the source of all activities and peaceful state of mind. Silence is the source of jnana, karma and bhakti. Silence is the source of love, compassion and forgiveness. I thank Dr. Kalyani Madam for her beautiful moderation and coordination. Thank you all. Pranam.
Thank you. So conclude here, and again with the promise that we will meet tomorrow again. Thank you. Thank you, Pramod sir. Thank you, Swarnalata Madam. Thank you
Thank
all
you,
the
madam.
esteemed participants. Thank you.